The story begins with a high-energy scene. Light, a cheerful and somewhat dreamy teenager, has only one dream: to become a successful adventurer so he can give his family a royal kind of life. Chasing that dream, he leaves his small village behind and heads toward the big city to register at the Adventurers Guild. When Light enters the city for the first time, everything feels dazzling and new. But the world isn't as kind as he imagined. In this world, the goddess created 9 races, and humans are ranked the lowest among them. Everyone looks down on them. The very moment Light steps into the city, he experiences his first taste of racism. A beast-man adventurer shouts angrily, "Hey, human, move out of the way." Light apologizes, even though he wasn't doing anything wrong. Eventually, he reaches the guild and registers. The receptionist there is all business, professional and efficient. She explains that all new adventurers start as F rank. Then she asks, "Do you have any special gift?" Light, full of confidence, replies, "Yes, my gift is unlimited gacha." His skill allows him to summon items, just like doing gacha pulls in games. To demonstrate, he activates his gacha device, rolls with excitement, and ting! A fork card appears in his hand. The card drops, and suddenly a real fork materializes on the table. But the fork is completely bent. Light's expression at that moment is priceless. Panicking, he says, wait, it's usually better than this." He tries again a few times, but this time he gets a rotten apple and a moldy piece of bread. The receptionist is convinced. This boy is a total loser. She smirks and says, "F rank suits you perfectly." Light laughs awkwardly and asks if there's any job available for him. She shows him the bulletin board filled with simple tasks that Light can't read. The receptionist realizes he's illiterate, though she isn't too surprised since education is rare among humans. She tells him he can do basic labor, carrying stones, collecting wood, and so on. Light accepts the work, toils all day, and earns just enough to rent a small room for the night. When it's time to eat, he decides to use his gacha skill to get food. But the world throws another twist at him. Late at night, a few beastmen stop him in the street. They bump into him on purpose, then yell, "Hey, human, you dirtied our clothes," and steal his money. Light pleads, "Please give it back. Where will I stay without it?" The leader punches him hard and says, "Consider it laundry payment." Light collapses in the dirt, filthy and humiliated. Bystanders scoff at him, saying, "Go sleep in the slums with the rest of the humans." The scene turns emotional. Light sits there, hopeless, when suddenly a hand reaches out to him. Without thinking, he takes it and sees a beautiful elf girl standing before him. A second later, he realizes his own hand is covered in mud. Embarrassed, he pulls away and apologizes, but the elf smiles and says, "It's okay, I won't hurt you." Light can hardly believe it. All his life, he's known nothing but discrimination. Then the elf kneels down and hugs him. The crowd gasps. People whisper, "An elf touching a human?" But she ignores them, helps Light to his feet, and says, "You're not alone." Behind her stands an entire team, members of different races. They introduce themselves as the Concord of Tribes, a party with one representative from every race. The Beastman, Garu, gives his name first. The elf introduces herself as Sasha, then names the others: Drago, the Dragon Youth; Diablo, the Demon; Abero, the Oni; Nano, the Dwarf; and Santar, the Centaur. They explain that their mission is simple: to end racism and create a world where every race is treated equally. And to complete their team, they needed a human. That human is Light. Light was so happy he could hardly believe it. But how could he abandon a party that felt this good? He joined the Concord of Tribes with full enthusiasm. At first, the adventures went smoothly, but it didn't take long for Light to start feeling like the team's weakest link. In one fight, he had to be rescued from monsters. Drago and Sasha both shouting as they pulled him out, "Be careful, one hit and you're done." And Light, embarrassed after taking a blow, could only say sorry. Sasha checks his injuries and keeps repeating, "You always stay behind us, understood?" The rest of the party teases Sasha about it. Everyone assumes she's gotten a little overprotective, like she's gone a bit Loki obsessed with Light. Sasha, cheeks flushed, protests, "I just treat him like a party member." Light's chest shrinks a little more because all he's been reduced to is carrying luggage and feeling useless.
Then Drago suddenly announces that Light does have one useful skill. He makes delicious tea, and the smile on Light's face lights up like someone had handed him a superpower. He cheerfully trudges deeper into the dungeon with the team. After a while, they reach an open area with only one entry and exit, and everyone exchanges looks like the last part of some plan is about to begin. Light, impatient, calmly starts making tea, completely unaware of what's happening behind him. Drago approaches quietly and says, "You're fired from the party." Wait, did Light really hear that? He's stunned and asks, "What did I do? Why?" The always tough beastman Garu bluntly says they're kicking him out because he does nothing. He's useless. In an instant, everyone's attitude snaps. They start laying into him. "We don't have patience for you. You're worthless." Even Sasha gives him a disgusted look. The entire team joins in insulting his race, the humans. Light thinks it must be a prank, but they're not joking. Drago explains that their superiors had been monitoring Light's gift, Unlimited Gacha, hoping he might become a maestro, so Concord of Tribes was ordered to keep an eye on him. When the higher-ups saw his ability was worthless, when his polls produced only junk, they gave the signal, "Dispose of him." All the softness and kindness shown earlier was theater, staged to win Light's complete trust. Sasha looks the most relieved because if Light had turned out to be a maestro, she might have had to marry him, and the thought had creeped her out. Light doesn't even know what maestro means, but worse than that is Drago's next sentence. They have to finish him now. Garu flashes a Wolverine-like fury, unsheathes metal claws, and slashes at Light's face with brutal speed, a raw image of blood and pain. And then Light understands this is for real. There's no way out. He panics and runs, but the racist bastards laugh, "We won't let you escape." Even Sasha knocks an arrow and shoots Light in the leg. He falls to the ground screaming. Some of them remark that the screams of humans soothe their ears, a line of literal cruelty. Garu grows more savage, assaulting Light until his screams escalate, while Drago insists the scene should look like a monster ambush, so a little acting is necessary. Gao plays along and prepares a final strike, but Light, crawling on, clings to life. Suddenly, the ground beneath him glows. He's standing right in the center of a teleportation circle. Drago screams, "Finish him!" But the circle activates just as Gao lunges. The circle swallows Light and teleports him away. Rescue it is not. The teleportation trap drops him onto a random, very deep lowest floor of the dungeon. Meeting monsters here equals certain death. Shivering, Light thinks of his family and wonders what crime earned him this punishment, his own team's betrayal. The warmth of fake kindness was gone, replaced with a cold, burning anger. He rises with a vengeful resolve. "I will take revenge on these scoundrels. I will crush them with my own hands." Rage pours out of him like poison, and just as he's about to speak more dangerous words, a low growl comes from behind. Light turns around, and standing before him is a level 1000 monster, something straight out of a nightmare, the kind of creature even fairy tales would hesitate to describe. Its eyes gleam with an unnatural glow, its body radiates mythic power. Light's reaction is pure horror mixed with disbelief. This can't be real. Only now does he realize that he's been teleported to the lowest floor of the dungeon, and in that instant, he understands that being with his treacherous party, as cruel as they were, was still safer than facing this thing alone. But there's no one left to turn back to now. Then, in a flash of reckless instinct, he remembers his so-called gift, the Unlimited Gacha. It's absurd, but it's all he's got. He starts pressing the summon button over and over, half crazed, as if forcing a locked door to open through sheer desperation. And then suddenly, the gift that always seemed useless begins to change. A massive magic circle ignites beneath him, and the gacha device in his hand surges with power. Light doesn't understand what's happening. His heart just pounds harder and harder. The monster leaps, ready to kill, and right at that instant, the gacha roll completes. From the card emerges a level 9099 maidservant. Yeah, like a final boss tier summon straight out of a game. Before Light can even blink, the maid moves. In a single flash, she tears through the level 1000 monster, shredding it to nothing with an elegance so sharp it's almost unreal. One second it's roaring, the next silence. The battlefield goes still, then the maid steps toward him, kneels gracefully, and without waiting for permission, heals his wounds with gentle magic. Her voice is calm, yet oddly affectionate. She says she couldn't bear to see his flawless skin scarred. Light is stunned. Just moments ago, he'd been about to die, and now he's perfectly fine. The maid looks up and asks for his name. Light hesitates, then says softly, Light. Her face brightens, and in a tone filled with purpose, she declares the maid's sacred vow, I will serve you till death. Light laughs nervously and tells her she should at least tell him her name first. The maid smiles and replies, May, the ever-seeking maid. She explains that she was drawn forth by his unlimited gacha, a super ultra-rare card. Light can't believe it. His supposedly worthless ability just summoned a being this powerful? But May stays composed. She asks for permission to use her appraisal skill to analyze his powers. When Light agrees, she activates it, and what she discovers changes everything. His abilities aren't weak at all. They're concealed beneath a powerful layer of suppression, the kind that no one below her level could ever perceive. His so-called useless skill isn't really useless, it's simply bound by his surroundings. May explains that the strength of gacha summons depends on the mana density of the area. On the surface, where mana is thin, he can only summon junk. But deep inside this dungeon, where mana is so dense it distorts reality, rare and ultra-rare pulls become possible. The reason May could even appear was because of the overwhelming mana pressure in this depth. She praises Light for his courage, how his sheer will brought him to the bottom of the world and unlocked the true potential of his gift. At her words, Light breaks down. He cries, releasing everything he's kept buried. The betrayal, the fake kindness, the hollow emptiness. Through tears, he whispers how his team once claimed they'd erase discrimination and create a fair world, but used that very promise to destroy him. May suddenly hugs him, a soft, unexpected gesture of comfort. She tells him she can't fully understand his pain, but she will do whatever it takes to help. Wiping his tears, she says she could easily erase those traitors if he wished, but Light shakes his head. No, he says firmly, I'll do it myself. May sees the fire in his eyes. It's not ego, it's conviction. She kneels again and vows like if he wants strength, she'll make sure he attains it because she sees something immense within him. But Light isn't satisfied with just one ally. Using the dungeon's mana-rich environment, he activates unlimited gacha again. One after another, more maidservants appear, each one more powerful and specialized than the last. Soon, Light isn't just a survivor, he's the master of an ever-growing legion of loyal maids, experts in combat, healing, logistics, and aura manipulation. With their help, he built something unthinkable in the depths of the dungeon, a shining palace-like domain powered by mana, guarded by thousands of devoted maids. From that day onward, the boy once betrayed as useless begins his quiet ascent towards becoming the most unpredictable force this world has ever seen. 3 years pass. The day Light was betrayed has long since faded into memory, just a scar carved somewhere deep inside him. Now he has power, he has resources, and he has May, his ever-faithful lieutenant, the one who stood by his side exactly as she promised. The maids adore him. Their cheers, their loyalty, their almost childlike admiration, they surround him like a living aura. When their enthusiasm gets too much, May steps in with her calm authority, reminding them to behave properly, keeping order among them. But that love, that unwavering devotion, it's more than just service. It's something Light had never known before, real human validation. When he walks through the market outside his palace, it feels like another world entirely. Vendors recognize him instantly, waving him over. Some invite him for breakfast. Others complain about a snack shortage or rising prices. Light smiles and replies warmly, I'll handle it. Behind him, May adds in her composed tone, You need not worry about minor logistics, my lord. Leave them to me. And in that small, perfect moment, Light realizes how far he's come. Once he was a powerless human, rejected, beaten, discarded. Now he's the master of an empire built in the heart of the dungeon itself. But deep within, the fire still burns, the memory of betrayal that refuses to die out.
Light hasn't gone soft. His smile may seem gentle, but beneath it lies precision. 3 years have passed, and Light's small kingdom has now become a mini country. The population has grown many times over. There's activity everywhere: maids, girls, artisans, and summons. Light realizes that the old way of running logistics won't work anymore. He'll need to create a new system so everything runs smoothly: food, weapons, housing, patrols, everything. He looks at May, always calm, composed, and loyal, and asks, "Where are the other legendary summons?" May smiles and says, "Yuki, the beast tamer, is surveying the forests near the dungeon. She's mapping the area and keeping an eye on nearby monsters." Light's mind flashes with images of the massive beasts in those woods, but then he smiles to himself. For a genius beast tamer like Yuki, those are just minor creatures. May continues, "Ellie the mage is still working on that grand magic project you planned." Light hesitates a little. That magic was so complex that even he couldn't fully understand it himself. "Hopefully Ellie can figure it out," he mutters. Then Light asks, "And Nas, the vampire knight?" May chuckles lightly. "She's on patrol duties, so she doesn't create another mess with her empty head." Light laughs softly. Even Naz's stupidity feels endearing to him. She keeps the castle alive and interesting. After a while, the two of them return to the castle, where they find Jack, the fourth legendary summon, waiting for them. "Master Light, ready for training?" he calls out. May immediately stiffens and says with a serious tone, "Address him as Master Light, not just Light." Jack shrugs and says, Yeah, whatever." May frowns, but Light laughs it off. "It's fun, May. Jack's like an older brother to me." Then he walks at Jack toward the training grounds, a faint smile on his face. The air is tense. The clash begins. Jack launches forward and Light blocks, their fists colliding with a shockwave that shakes the ground. Both step back slightly, eyes locked. Light smirks and launches a barrage of strikes. Jack dodges, laughing, "You've really turned into a fighter now." Light grins. "I've been training hard." Jack takes a deep breath. "Good. Let's see how much you've improved." Their next blows collide again, dust flying everywhere, power radiating from each impact. Meanwhile, inside the castle, Nas patrols the corridors with their usual empty-headed pride. Some of the maids giggle as she passes. "Nas-sama, we feel so safe when you're on patrol." Nas puffs up her chest. "Really?" The maids giggle again. "Oh yes, and maybe you should check Master Light's room too, just to be safe." Nas's eyes light up. Terrific idea. She immediately rushes toward Light's bedroom. Just as she's about to open the door, May steps out, looking a bit flustered. Nas tilts her head. "May, what were you doing in Master Light's room? He's supposed to be training." May blushes. "I was just cleaning." Nas narrows her eyes. "I need to make sure everything's secure." Before May can respond, Nas slips into the room and sees the bed slightly messy. "What's this?" she exclaims. "Looks like someone's been rolling around and sniffing the pillows. Did you do this on purpose?" May instantly catches on. The other maids must have sent Nas because they're annoyed that May monopolizes Light's room and never lets anyone else clean it. May closes her eyes for a moment, then speaks sweetly. "Don't worry, Nas. I'll take care of it." She hands Nas a few coins. Nas's eyes sparkle. "Thank you, May," she chirps and skips away happily. May returns to the room, sets a parchment on the table, and murmurs to herself, "Revolt, huh? Let's see who has the guts." A cold glint flashes in her eyes, the same look that defines the most loyal and most dangerous maid in Light's army. Nas rushing through a crowded market, excitement shining on her face. With her last few coins, she thinks, "Today I'll eat something special." Her eyes dart across the stalls, grilled meat sizzling, fruits glistening in the sunlight. But then her gaze finally settles on something that makes her smile. Naz's eyes land on those fluffy golden pancakes that look literally as soft as clouds, with a glass of fresh milk beside them. She smiles to herself and says, "A royal treat today, huh?" Without wasting a moment, she happily buys them and skips away toward the castle. When she reaches the castle courtyard, she spots Yuki sitting on the balcony, the wind gently blowing through her hair. Naz shouts, "Hey Yuki, done with your work? Or are you still covered in forest dirt?" Yuki gives her an irritated look and says, "I finished the map you asked for. I'm just here to deliver it." Naz laughs and says, "Congrats," before heading back to her patrol duty. As she walks away, her usual curiosity kicks in. She peeks into the throne room. The empty space inside calls to the little devil in her. She sneaks in and suddenly starts yelling at the top of her lungs. Her voice echoes off the stone walls, and when no one comes to stop her, she jumps onto the royal throne, resting her feet on the seat and laughing like a naughty kid. But then her foot hits a statue beside the throne, and the angel's wing snaps off. She freezes. Panic spreads across her face. In her mind, she can already see May's expression, the one that could burn her alive with just a stare. She frantically tries to reattach the broken wing. It ends up slightly crooked, but it'll do. Without wasting another second, she dashes out of the room at lightning speed. Meanwhile, back at the training grounds, Light and Jack are still clashing. The sound of their weapons fills the air. Jack laughs between strikes. "Bro, that's enough for today. Come on, bath time." Still grinning, they walk toward the baths while playfully sparring. Both sink into the giant bathtub, steam rising around them. Jack looks at Light and says, "You're amazing, man. You picked up those skills fast. Most dungeon monsters are child's play for you now." Then his tone turns serious. "But remember, there are still people up there, powerful ones, who won't hesitate to kill you if they get the chance." Light's expression shifts immediately. His mind drifts back to the betrayal from 3 years ago. Quietly, he says, "I won't rest until I've taken my revenge." Inside the castle, May sits in her chamber, anger burning in her eyes. She summons the 4 maids who had written that letter. They stand before her, trembling. May slams the letter on the table. "What is your problem?" she demands. Silence. Then one of them stammers, "We just wanted to show support, Lady May. You've been overworking yourself lately." May exhales sharply, calming herself. "Forget about me. Focus on your own work," she says coldly. Then she smirks and adds, "For punishment, clean the entire hallway leading to the throne room, by hand." The maids' faces go pale. That hallway is enormous, but May only gives them a cool smile. "It'll keep you busy while Light and I are away on mission." Outside, Naz has stopped at a shop window again. Her eyes are fixed on a shiny gauntlet she desperately wants to buy, but she doesn't have enough money. Suddenly, Ellie appears behind her. "What are you looking at?" she asks. Naz points to the gauntlet. "Why are you back so soon? Weren't you supposed to be at the construction site?" Ellie replies in her usual cool tone. "Everything's running smoothly, so I decided to take a little break." Naz grins mischievously. "I'll remember that," Ellie says with a knowing smile, and Naz trudges back to her boring patrol. Inside the castle, the maids are in full gossip mode again, whispering about May. "She's like a dictator," one says. Another laughs. "Yeah, she's basically that mustachioed guy from Germany." The rest giggle nervously, but still look terrified. Then one of them says, maybe Light trusts her so much because she was his first summon. A purple-haired maid adds, "It took him 2 whole months to summon Yuki after May. That means Light and May were alone in the dungeon for 2 months." The room goes silent for a second, and then someone mutters. The scene opens with the 4 maids rolling on the floor in frustration, making ridiculous poses like cheap knockoffs of anime villains. One of them suddenly says, "Let's do some voodoo magic. Let's remove May from the equation." They all burst into evil giggles, light candles on a table, and begin chanting together, "Die, die, die." Their faces twist into creepy smiles full of jealousy and spite. But bro, karma hits fast. Because standing right outside the door is May. She's heard everything. The door creaks open slowly. The maids freeze. The color drains from their faces as if someone poured bleach over them. May steps in, wearing her full royal composure, calm on the outside, but her eyes radiate pure threat. She corners them, literally pinning them against the wall with her presence alone. The maids start crying out of fear, their voices trembling. "Ma'am, we're sorry. We were just jealous. We didn't mean it." May exhales, her tone cold and controlled. "You girls really live too much in your imagination," she says quietly. Then, in her signature calm way, she explains. "When Light summoned me, and before Yuki arrived 2 months later, all he did was study magic and practice martial arts. That's it. We barely had time to eat or sleep, let alone do anything weird." The maids let out a shaky sigh of relief. Maybe, just maybe, she's not that mad anymore. But then May gives a soft smile, the dangerous kind. "Actually," she says sweetly, "I was planning to forgive you. But now, I don't think I should." The maids go pale again as May announces their new punishment. "Now you'll clean the throne room as well." by hand. The maids' eyes widen like they've seen death itself, but none of them dare to speak. Heads bowed, they silently get to work. Terrified, they scrub harder than ever, polishing every inch until the floor practically shines like glass. But of course, disaster was bound to happen. While dusting near the statues, the green-haired idiot maid accidentally bumps into the same angel statue that Naz had broken earlier. The already loose wing falls off again with a loud clunk. The sound echoes through the hall. All four maids freeze. Horror spreads across their faces like a shadow. They stare at each other, pale and trembling, whispering, "She's going to kill us this time. May won't leave us alive." The scene cuts to the next morning. Light steps into the dungeon, his aura calm but sharp. Waiting for him are Naz, Ellie, and Yuki, ready as hell for battle. Light gives a small smile. "Good morning." But even before he can say more, Naz and Ellie are already bickering as usual, their voices overlapping like static. Ahead of them looms a massive monster, the same one responsible for Light's old wounds, the one tied to his betrayal from 3 years ago. He stares at it silently. He knows he's much stronger now, far beyond what he used to be. But the trauma, it still lives deep inside him. The air grows heavier, his fists tighten. This isn't just another fight. This is a reckoning.
And that's all for today. Drop 2,000 comments if you want the next part. Thank you for watching.